Yo, it's your friend Dinner Dog, and Popeye's joining us for this bad boy because this is one of my favorite topics, or really just features of the randomizer. Item Stat Randomization, which is a feature you'll find on SOTN.io if you make your own preset, or you're going to find it within Safe, Casual, and Adventure. And it's going to make it so that items and equipment are not what they seem. It can make for some crazy combinations and like the Basilard can hit really hard, all those kind of things. So let's take a look into it here. So like, what is this mess here, right? This looks like a holy sword, but it's named Marcel, simple mercenary sword. What the hell is going on here, right? In today's video, we're going to talk about how you figure this out. So we're going to look at weapon randomization first because it's probably the thing that impacts your gameplay the most. Then we'll look at all the other items, and I'll tell you about a database I've got that's going to help make all this stuff really easier to figure out. So how the randomization works when item stat randomization is on is that item names are randomized. The except one-time use items, and there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, when you pick up an item and you see its name, it's going to be random. Item sprites are recolored, and often the sprites are swapped. So like, I'm gonna have something that is a Basilard, but the sprite is going to be a Werebane, for instance. The stats are randomized, so that's the amount of like, let's say, attack or defense or constitution that an item's going to give you, etc. But the biggest thing to keep in mind on how this works is that item descriptions are not randomized. When you look at the description, that is the item you have. Its statistics may be different, but that's the item. So if it says for a sword that it's a spirit sword, you know you have Malt Blanc. You know that the shield spell will work. You know what range the weapon is. You know how fast it hits. You know it double hits, etc. There's a lot of cool things with it. So let's break this down by item class here. So starting with weapons, the names are swapped within the same class. So if I pick up a Basilard, which is considered a short sword, and it says Werebane, I know I have a short sword of some kind because Werebane is a short sword. I don't know which one it is based on the name. I've got to go and look at the description to figure that out. Also, the sprites are swapped within their same class and recolored. So again, here are the classes. So it says Werebane when I pick it up. It's actually a Basilard, but the sprite is the rapier, or the combat knife, things like that. So the sprite gives you some information, but you've got to go in the description to figure out what it is. The most notable I'd say is throwable weapons because there's only three of them, and they're always good because you can dual wield any of them. The even Heaven Sword is good. So the it's all when you see a throwable sprite on the ground, like a throwable weapon, like the Chakram, Heaven Sword, the Rune Sword sprite, you want to pick it up. It's always fantastic, or it can have the potential to be fantastic. And the reason it's fantastic is because their attack values are randomized. And so how the randomization works is it's it's not like generated based on like any number. The number of, or the attack value of the weapon is based on an attack value that already existed in the game. So I think using Malt Blanc as an example, I think the attack value of that weapon is 39. So that's a potential attack value for all of the weapons. And then same with every other weapon, including weapons that like the Tear Fiend that give you minus 30. All those are potential values. Even the weapons that remove your defense are randomized as well. So the number itself is fixed based on what existed in the vanilla game and then just swapped around. It's not like you're going to find a sword that does 500 damage because that didn't exist in the vanilla game. Now, what I've been told is that items get the attack value of that exists within their class, but I don't know if that's true or not, or if that's intentional. I'm not sure exactly what the intentional design is here, but my understanding, and I'll show you in the next slide, is that weapons can have any attack value that exists in the game, regardless of their class. And I've got two examples of clubs to show that off. because clubs were recently randomized in the game. They weren't before. So again, the descriptions are always true. And the biggest thing to take away from weapons is that special attack damage is never randomized. So if I have a Masamune that does negative 30 damage normally, the special will always do 200 damage. Always. So no matter what the item rolls, you know you have something to beat the game immediately. So all of these things, like I'm not going to go through them all right now, but these are the most notable ones where even it doesn't matter what damage the item does, the special is powerful and can be really good in a number of situations. So if you want to look at these, like pause the video now. Otherwise, let's keep her going. So here's my example with rods. So these are two different seeds. In one, we're starting the game. We started with Holy Rod. It happened to have the same name here. And we're hitting for 66 based on 12 strength. This is Yatsetsuna damage. We don't meet the strength requirement, which is why we're not getting the full value for Yatsetsuna. But we'll talk about strength requirements in the video. Same thing here. Another one, we got a Holy Rod. This is the Talwar damage here. We've got 40 strength. And we're getting 22 out of it. Alrighty, so that just shows that like neither of these weapons have club damage associated with them. They have sword damage. One is a two-handed sword, one is a one-handed sword. Alrighty, so looking at shields, the sprites are recolored, but the sprite itself is accurate. So if you see like a funky looking fire shield, it's a fire shield. Unfortunately for Alucard shield, you've got to look in the description because two of them have the same sprite. The defense is randomized. The descriptions, of course, are always true, but you probably know what you've got anyways because the sprite is accurate as much as it's recolored. For rings, this is more important. So the sprites are swapped with other rings and they're recolored. The stats are randomized, all right? Even with descriptions that don't offer stat boosts, all right? And this includes gold and silver ring. So what the hell is going on here, right? So there are, because the golden rule still remains that descriptions are always true. So if you have a gauntlet, the description is going to say +5. I think it's strength rather than attack. Either way, it's +5. Because the description says you're getting +5, the gauntlet description will always give you +5. All right. The same thing with Covenant Stone gives +15, I think, right? So you're always going to get +15 when you see that description. That's what the ring is giving to you. But there are other rings that give stats. Let's say like the metal. Oh, no, metal is a bad example. The Ring of Pales that doesn't really have a description to say +1 to all, but does give +1 to all your statistics. That can be randomized. The Varda stats can be randomized because the golden ring to rule them all doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say +30 to like everything or whatever it gives you, right? So you can have a gold and silver ring that gives you +30. You can have a talisman, which does give you the defense bonus in that like the talisman will take a hit for you sometimes, and it gives you +30 to everything. So rings are super cool. It really does mean that you need to pay attention to to your statistics when you're looking through them. But like you could have like a mystic pendant regenerate your MP faster and give you some bonus stats to it. So it's very amazing. For armor and capes, the sprites are swapped. Obviously with armor swapping with armor and capes with capes. Their stats are randomized. The descriptions are always true. So if you pick up something that says impervious to evil attacks, it's dark armor. You're going to be immune to Beelzebub, which is fantastic. But otherwise, most of the armors don't matter. And the cape color is always random because it's fun, and we get fashion souls. I love it. All right, let's take a look at the last little bit here. So this is really important. So progression items, gold, silver ring, and holy glasses names and sprites are randomized. So you got to pay the hell attention, all right? So if you pick up a headpiece in a place that would normally have a relic, it might be holy glasses. Usually it's usually the name will be like goggles, stone mask, sunglasses. Typically doesn't have the name of like dragon helm or any of the other helmets or the circlets, but because so it keeps it within that thing that makes sense, that's like kind of glasses and goes on your face. But otherwise, you need to pay attention to that because this could be for sale in the shop. Like you see sunglasses for 500 and think, I don't need those sunglasses, but then realize, oh crap, that was holy glasses, right? The same goes for the rings, right? It may not say gold or silver ring. And having the tracker is really key because you could pick up a ring, it says like talisman, but then your tracker shows that you've actually got gold ring, right? So you need to read the descriptions. That's really good. The spike breaker is the exception. Spike breaker's name is always accurate. So when you see spike breaker, you have spike breaker. You don't even need to look at the description. All right. So for use items, this is weapon use items, including monster vials. The sprites are recolored, but otherwise they're accurate. So if it looks like a buffalo star, it is a buffalo star. The names and descriptions are also correct. And so I think the reason why this is the case here is because it'd be really crappy to get a use item and then you got to kind of throw it to figure out what it is and then it's gone, right? So it makes sense here that these are a bit more lenient in terms of what it presents to you. The attack damage is always randomized, so you could get block of knives that hit like a truck. You could get buffalo stars that are terrible. And also an oddity is that so this weapon use includes the screen clearing items, and typically it appears that at least one of them will deal no damage for whatever reason, even if it says it does. I'm not sure why that's the case. I don't know if it's like randomizing with like a karma coin or something like that. I'm not really not sure, but that's currently how it behaves at the time of this recording. For potions, which include resistances, mana prisms, and heart refreshes, the sprites are randomized and can be any of the above. So you could get a heart refresh that's actually a mana prism. So you got to watch out for that bad boy. The names, though, are not randomized. So the description and name will be true. When I pick it up, I know what I have. Again, you don't want to be... I believe the intentional design is that you don't want to be fumbling around with use items to figure out what it is because then you would just waste them, right? The so the things that they do aren't randomized though. So the attack potion is always going to give you plus attack of 20. The potion healings are not random. However, food is a different story. So food is recolored and often looks disgusting. But the food when you see it, like the pizza box, it's going to be pizza. When you look at the Frankfurter, you're getting a Frankfurter, right? So the names and descriptions are accurate, but the healing is random, which kind of stinks sometimes, but can also be fun. So it kind of nerfs food to an extent because you never know what you're going to get. But at the same time, you could throw out a corn dog and get 100 health, so it could be cool. You can also get 0 as well, so be mindful of that. I believe the toadstool is not randomized though, so you're not going to eat food and then it be poisonous. It will tell you toadstool and it'll behave as you would expect it to. And then the last one is Karma Coin. Its name and sprite are accurate, and it's not randomized, and you can confidently avoid Karma Coin because it's bad. All right, so the last thing before we wrap this up here, and the screen's gonna get really bright, so if you don't like that, look away. But we've got a database, yay! So it's gonna be in the description. So I have every weapon outlined here, and you don't really care about the name. The real purpose of this was saying, what are the descriptions? So what can you look at in the description and then deduce about the weapon here, right? And there are some fun ones here. So like Alucard sword, right? So when I see a description that says Mother's Family Heirloom, I know the attack speed is fast. I know it has a special, all sorts of good stuff there. The Basilard is just basic short sword. And it's really cool because it's a fast hitting knife. And because it's very fast and damage is randomized, it can do a ton of damage. So you love the Basilard. So I pretty much have taken every attribute about an item, including if you can use it to backdash, if you can dual wield with it, which I've called free action, etc. Even some things were like the default name here, like Dark Blade is an elemental weapon. And elemental weapons, for the most part, actually no, Dark Blade isn't an elemental weapon. Sorry, it doesn't do elemental damage, but for whatever reason, it's not randomized. It always has its default name. So if I pick up a Dark Blade, I know that it double hits, which is a very cool feature of it. And there's a whole bunch. We could go over this forever. I'm going to do another video on all of the items and my tier list of them, which is actually within the sheet. So if you want to take a look at that, go for it. The I need to update the stuff for clubs at the time of this recording, but because they weren't randomized originally. Anyways, so check it out in the description if you want to look, or check out the link in the description if you want to use the Google Sheet, which includes descriptions of every weapon and what they do. All right, so that's it for me then. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it really gives you some insights on how this works and removes some frustration, because this is worth your time. The item stat randomization is fun. It creates a lot of cool combinations, and it's a real treat. So thanks for tuning into this video. Popeye, I'm sure, says goodbye as well. He's just behind the computer, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.